Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series, Season 7. I'll be your host tonight. I'm Arrow. I'm not going to talk this crazy ASMR version of Arrow for the evening, but it is a little bit late, so I feel like it's almost like HOTS After Dark in some ways. 10:35 on the East Coast. We're a couple minutes behind waiting on one player who just joined, so we'll probably be getting started here any moment now. Tonight we've got a match coming for you from D East, and a couple of hot teams here in Division D. We've got Team Rekt'Em. I don't know why Rekt is the only thing that says on their logo, but that's what it says. And 2Calculated2Throw. I don't know why it says 2-0. Hold up. Why does it say 2-0? Because I didn't sync. There we go. Now it should show 0. So there we go. Back to 0. Alrighty. So anyways, as I was saying, 2Calculated2Throw with Team Rekt'Em. Let's take a look at the standings so far, keeping in mind, of course, that only 1 week. What? Oh, don't you worry. I got you. I'm gonna wait until I say your name in the map. So I'll say it right, I think, maybe. And if not, then whatever. This is my show. I say it how I want. So what do we got tonight here? So we've got 2Calculated2Throw sitting at 5th place with 3 points, 2 points for Team Rekt'Em. But again, both of these teams have only played 1 match, I believe. So 2Calculated could look at tying up at 2nd place. Team Rekt'Em could look at 3rd place, potentially. In any case, one of these teams is gonna gain some points and go up. So what do we got? Let me just double check, make sure who all is in this game. Because there's a name, I think, in here. There's 2 names. There are 2 names that I was not seeing. So we got that all updated. Let's take a look at our maps. How did we get to where we're going? Well, to start with, we banned out the Battlefield of Eternity and Sky Temple. Those bans came from Rekt'Em. We also saw bans from Cursed Hollow and Towers of Doom. No worries, Scooter Man. You can be biased. Be as biased as you want to be in chat. Totally okay. Our first map is going to be on Towers. I'm sorry, on where the hell? Tomb of the Spider Queen. Lobby stream pog. What are you talking about? Let me check in with these teams because everybody's over here talking. Y'all done strategizing. Welcome, Grievance. Glad you guys could join us tonight. It looks like both teams are ready, and so we're gonna get right into the draft. Before we do that, I'm gonna wave again. I got my NGS shirt on tonight. Stixa, I appreciate the shout outs, calling out the caster. Caster always wins, baby. I'm gonna go ahead and give a shout out to our Patreon here as the game is just getting started. If you enjoy NGS, perhaps consider throwing a couple bucks over towards NGS. You do get some pretty mad loots. All right, into the draft we go. And as you can see, it's been 20 seconds already. No bans just yet. And I've got a treat for you guys. You know what? That's a perfect one for my little treat here. So I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of information here. It's going to be coming and going as we go through this. But let's take a look at what Kerrigan's been doing in Division D East. Absolutely nothing is what she's been doing. Where's my notepad? I need a notepad. All right. I also need a pen. There's a pen. Welcome, Alice, over here, saying hello to everybody with a squeaky toy. Gonna see the Anna and Stukov bands. So let's write these out. Kerrigan. Got Anna and Stukov. Tomb of the Spike Queen. What do we got? You know what? Let's take a look at what Anna's stats are like here in Division D East. What do we got from you, Anna? 37% pick rate. Pretty high overall. Win rate 29%. That's abysmal. Ban rate 47%. Grandma not doing so hot in the Nexus in Division D East these days. Coming out for 2Calculated. What kind of a pick are we gonna get? What are we gonna get? The Johanna was banned out, so no fast rotation hero for this, as we're gonna see Kael'thas being the first selection for 2Calculated. Aha. They did not ban Probius, everybody. Kael'thas, a pretty common hero on the ban side of things. I'm not sure that he gets picked more so than he gets banned. Let's see what Kael'thas looks like in Division D East. My guess is he probably gets banned more than he's picked. What do you say there, chat? What do we got? Pick rate 21%, ban rate 47%. Fully half the games, but take a look, another hero at 25% for this one. Given the impact that Kael'thas and Anna can have, those are pretty low numbers. Diablo and Imperious. So we now have, which is kind of funny if you think about it. Right? We got the Lord of Terror and the Angel of Justice? No, that's Tyrael, right? Wrath? Is he Angel Wrath? I don't know. I'm not positive. Lucio getting banned out, so all kinds of supports being taken away. It would not surprise me to see absolutely no more supports banned because they already have Anduin. So we've got a new Brack. So what do we pair with this? Maybe a Jaina going into this. For the wave clear, they could even go Gul'dan. We've got the Anduin. With what they have coming in, I expect to see a light bomb out of this because there are just too many ways to shut down that salvation, and we are going to see that Gul'dan ban. So guess we're not going to see Gul'dan coming in for Team Rekt'Em. I should probably start putting these people on their heroes, huh? A new Brack, and we had Anduin for Tainor. Oh, I don't have Tainor on the list. Smell, Physian. Who did I miss? One. Oh, I put him in twice. Got it. Hanzo and Jaina. So Hanzo is gonna probably, I expect to see Hanzo going into the Redemption and maybe into the Diablo. Oh, gosh, I don't know. Now that I think about it, that is, Redemption's the build these days. It got the most value out of the recent changes, but it's Diablo Imperious. And a charge into a wall followed up by an Imperious stun, and Hanzo loses all those Redemption stacks. So maybe he's not going to be looking at that as an option. Last pick coming out for Team Rekt'Em, looking for their solo lane. What do we think? Nah, not Blaze. Oh, it is Blaze! Oh, why did I doubt myself? I knew it was going to be Blaze. Combustion, followed up by some Ring of Frost action. We got him an Anubarak, charges and stuns and all of those things going on. Let's see if I can get all these. Man, this layover. It got all kinds of not correct. 1, 2, 3, call Rhaegar. And then Fear on Lunara. Cool. And we did see that Lunara picked up as well there at the end. So some serious dot damage coming out from Kael'thas Lunara. And of note, at level 13, Lunara with that big cleanse can get rid of potential roots coming out of Anduin. Could get rid of the Jaina roots. We also have the cleanse out of Rhaegar. But also of importance to keep in mind is Lunara cleanses damage over time effects. So the combustion value, all of a sudden not that important. 2 people, Lunara and whoever she targets, suddenly no damage. So we'll see. All right, let's flip this over to the game screen so that I don't screw that up again tonight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, game number 1 on Tomb of the Spider Queen between 2Calculated2Throw and Team Rekt'Em. For 2Calculated, we've got Hunter X on Imperius, Fear going to be playing Lunara, X Havoc on Diablo, Galdriais on Rhaegar, Jurgenderb on Kael'thas. And for Team Rekt'Em, we've got Tanner on Anduin, Frisian on Jaina, Tasmel on Blaze, Nerazor on Anubarak, and Jesus Mafia on Hanzo. So what do you guys think before I pull up these talents? Actually, they already popped them on the side, so never mind. It is going to be the Scatter Arrow build for Hanzo, and I think that's probably a pretty good idea. But the flip on the Anubarak from Diablo allows them to get some damage on to Diablo and Anubarak. That front line taking loads of damage there, but ultimately no kills in the first 30 seconds of the game. What else do we see here? So we've got that increased damage from the Valorous brand, Burn the Impure, as Imperius is coming down here to deal with Tasmel. Burning it away, hopefully. Almost seems a little funny that... Yeah, but anyways, Diablo getting chastised, stands around for just a moment in that blizzard, taking a little bit of blizzard damage. Let's take a look. What did Diablo go? So he elected not to go for Soul Shield into the Jaina Combustion Hanzo Scatter Arrow. He instead went for that Devil's Due, getting the value from the globes and the healing wells. What else do we have out there? Anubarak going into the shield build. Renew from the Anduin. And taking a look at Lunara here, keeping that vision on the enemy team as long as they are affected by her nature's toxin. I think that's a talent. Anyways, you know what I'm talking about, that dot damage. The damage that Lunara does that makes you die 3 minutes after you run away. So, yeah. As pointed out by Grievance in chat, Team Rekt'Em does have some pretty serious CC potential between the Jet Propulsion and Ring of Frost, even a Hanzo Arrow, or just a Burrow charge in from the Anubarak. Chastise even from Anduin. Every single player on this team has the potential to bring some kind of CC. We do get 11 gems in for Rekt'Em, as Fear coming down here with no Nature's Calling yet, but I'm assuming that's going to be picked up now, trying to get this siege camp started. And there it is, Nature's Calling. On the other side, we do have still a fair amount of CC. We've got Diablo charges, we've got the flips, we've got the Imperius Celestial charge, the Gravity Lapse, slows coming out of Lunara, the slows coming out of Rhaegar, and of course the potential for an APOC or Wrath of Angiris maybe even. Probably not, but it could happen, so we'll keep an eye on that. But they've got some pretty significant blow up potential coming out of the Kael'thas into that front line if they can get some living bomb spreads. Hanzo just coming down, taking a peek. We are now getting some gems turned in, not quite as much as they would have liked for 2Calculated. Neither team quite at the point where they can turn in for the web weavers. So just looking to soak the lanes, keep things going. Let's take a look at that soak. Where's the soak? Is it 6? The 5? The 4? There we go, XP totals. Charge in onto the blaze, but unfortunately just the one stun. There was no follow-up there to get the kill, but looks like Hunter-X is able to get his gems in, 18 there, so 24, as both teams now have enough for web weavers, but neither team able to get more in, as 24 to 11 in favor of 2Calculated2Throw. And Tanner trying to get that one gem in, super important. But up in the top lane, we're gonna get our first web weavers for 2Calculated2Throw. Let's take a look. I'm gonna block the screen, I'm sorry guys. I just want to take a look at what their gem counts are for now. So just a real quick pop. Okay, lots and lots over there for Hanzo, Nubarak, and Blaze. And with this web weaver, we're gonna see them start to rotate up into the top lane. They want to get as much value as they can for that boss lane. And again, Nature's Culling working on the structures. Diablo charge in onto a Nubarak, but now Razor is going to be able to burrow charge away. There's no wall, however, any longer, so he's going to come back out. Now we've got the wave coming in from the spider as well. Hanzo has no mana and not a whole lot to bounce those arrows off of, so limited value that he can provide. But we do get this full wall for 2Calculated. We get the mid wave, or I'm sorry, the mid wall as well, taking out that well. And in the bot lane, not a whole lot of value, you know, not generally expected to get a whole lot of value when you've got the pressure in 2 other lanes. And so we see here 11 gems so far turned in for Team Rekt'Em, as both teams looking to get onto their bruiser camps. A little bit more commitment out of Rekt'Em. And now we wait. Taking a look at the talents, what do we got going on here? Explosive at 4 for the Hanzo to make sure that he's getting that big burst of damage onto the waves. Continuing on with the serrated arrows, never outmatched, giving additional cooldown reduction onto that when he attacks a hero with his auto attack. Root going out onto Diablo, keeping his team safe is Tanner. And now the Celestial Charge into Tanner there. The flip from Diablo getting to Nerazor. The Burrow Charge keeping him just barely alive there. So much damage coming out. And now trying to get in onto Smell. The Celestial Charge is going to hit. Lunara putting out the dot damage. And ladies and gentlemen, the first kill of the game coming at 6 minutes and 38 seconds. And if they're not careful, this could be a second. And it is. But thankfully, the bug was able to get in behind the wall to deliver those gems to the team. X-Havoc leading the charge into this fort, taking a little bit of damage from that tower, as there weren't any minions in range, and they are now looking to get some pressure. And the bot lane, which was originally the strongest lane, thanks to these siege giants, will go down and be the first structure to go down in this game so far. Camp cleared up in the mid lane. So 2Calculated2Throw, keeping their structures rather healthy. We have no damage top, we have no damage mid, and just a little bit of damage in the bot lane. 36 gems to 11. Currently in favor of 2Calculated2Throw, and they are looking to get this second turn in, and it looks like they may very well just get it. As level 10s, by the way, passed us a few moments ago. Let's take a look at these talents as they're coming on now for Team Rekt'Em as well. We have the Leaping Strike from Lunara, Pyroblast for Kael'thas, Apocalypse for Diablo. We do see the angelic armaments for Imperius and ancestral healing for Rhaegar. On the other side, we do see that Dragon's Arrow for Hanzo, Cocoon from Anub'arak, the Bunker from Blaze. Jaina's going to go into that Ring of Frost, and we do see that Light Bomb that I mentioned was probably going to be the pick. Dives in onto Nerazor. X-Havoc not able to quite get into the wall there, so a lot of these Diablo charges, the shadow charges, missing the wall, but ultimately providing some value, giving the damage potential, and looks like they're going to go ahead and back out. Hunter X heading to the mid lane to make sure that this fort goes down and soak whatever they can there. So we do have a 4v4 in the top lane as Jaina's in the bot. Probably not the hero that you wanted to be there, as ultimately Jaina wants to be in these fights working on that chill quest, sitting at just over 5k, 11 levels into the game. Need to get that ice block, and of course also the frostbite, or sorry, Fingers Frost. Frostbite's level 1 talent. And look at this gank, this potential. This was quite interesting. There wasn't any reason for them to come back, but now Lunara leaping over Tanner gets the light bomb out, manages to hit Rhaegar. The Dragon's Arrow misses everybody, goes right through the team. Angelic armaments popped, gets so much damage onto the Anub'arak, but doesn't quite kill him thanks to the big spell armor he gets, and the Bunker negates the Pyroblast. But ultimately, they're still going to lose the Jaina, they're still going to lose the Hanzo, and they might lose the Bug, who went back in for those coins, just barely escapes with 62 gems. That would have been devastating. And with level 13 talents and 2 kills, or rather 2 heroes still dead, 2Calculated2Throw, coming in, getting this boss. They have plenty of time. And Anub'arak, I'm assuming, is going to make his way to turn in? Question mark, hopefully. And I like this. They get this camp so they can get some pressure in another lane opposite the boss. If they all pushed top, then you lose the top keep. But now you've got this camp, which is taking longer than perhaps it should have. The burrow charge in with the Dragon's Arrow, the short range, so just a minor stun. Out comes the Cocoon and the Bunker. Ring of Frost hitting Diablo, and now he's in a bit of trouble getting stunned by the jet propulsion, but ultimately Team Rekt'Em realizing that this is not the play they want to take. They want to get up here and prevent this boss from taking their keep. It might get cleared before it takes the whole thing, but they want to make sure that they have enough health on it to prevent it from going down the next time that 2Calculated comes in on this pressure. So that was a good play by 2Calculated to get in there and try to get in on that camp while the boss was pressuring. Just a little bit off on timing for them. Probably also helped that Anub'arak had gone to turn in, so they were able to prevent any significant deaths or damage. And that Webweaver wave does get cleared up with no significant damage coming out for 2Calculated. A little bit of damage in the mid lane there, still a little bit in the bottom. So, and Lunara's Wisp giving the vision of that corridor, making sure that they don't come through. Nearly enough for a turn-in, 58 out of 60. And at this point, with these waves being pushed in as far as they are, another turn-in will definitely lead to keep damage. The flip in, and there's the shadow charge into the wall. APOC coming out is going to hit the Bug, but he's going to get the burrow, keeping him unstoppable. Ring of Frost hitting both of the front line. Fear jumping over the backs, trying to keep that dot damage going. Ancestral coming out, keeping Diablo alive, but there's the Pyroblast onto the Hanzo. Not going to kill him, but going to take him back in the fight. And Blaze is going to go down, dropping 20 gems on the floor, but nobody can pick them up. Jaina also getting taken out, but Hunter X in a bit of trouble, gets stunned by Anub'arak and taken out. Leaping Strike coming out from Lunara, trying to keep that Bug in play. Diablo charge pulling him back, but Lunara pulling away as just not enough health to feel comfortable into that. And important to note that Lunara going in at 13 on the spell armor, quite a big spell armor, 75 spell armor, as opposed to the cleanse. And of course they didn't take bunker, so there's no dot for them to cleanse. Of course, that bunker being a response to the Pyroblast and the APOC. So I think that's all the right call. I think that series of events went the right way. Top lane to Smell, trying to get rid of these minions to push back the spiders and get whatever damage they can out of these minions here to try to prevent that top keep from going down. But that's going to leave open the bot lane for all of this pressure. The Siege Giants, the Web Weavers, and we see Anduin, you know, top siege damage hero in the mid lane, trying to slow things down. That Spider is already at half, but here comes the pressure. The Ring of Frost going out does hit to 2, but the APOC in return. Jaina taking so much damage, and ultimately it's going to be Hanzo that goes down first. We do have the Ice Block potential. The bunker coming out, trying to keep to Smell up, but unfortunately that Pyroblast going to send the man on fire back to the graveyard. 48 gems sitting on this Anubrak. Burrows out, trying to keep alive and slow down this pressure as the mid keep goes down now as well. 2 keeps down, still a Siege Giant camp, and full team for 2Calculated as they rotate up to get the damage onto this top keep. Diablo instead saying, I want these kills, goes in, pulls back Anduin, and now they are pulling away. They didn't quite finish that top keep as Lunara was not able to get enough damage there before she had to pull back with about 20% health. But look at this, Rhaegar, Galdreus just chasing down the Anduin. Chastise slowing things down, but Anduin in a bit of trouble with his level 13, allowing him to kind of race around while he's got the Leap of Faith on cooldown, or off cooldown, I guess, but ultimately not able to get anywhere, just kind of staggering that death for a good 30 seconds. But ultimately they save that top keep, not a lot of it, but enough, and they do not lose the game at this point. (18-16), level 16 talents online for both teams. We do see that piercing arrows from Hanzo. The is that Epicenter? Is that what it called? Yeah, Epicenter for Anubrak, giving the larger radius. And oh, that's not the one that I would have expected, but they've got plenty of CC, so sure. The armor reduction coming out from Jaina, and of course inner focus for Anduin. And now they don't have level 20s. They don't have enough gems to turn in, so I think that at this point, yeah, I was going to say, we're getting Web Weavers coming out from red, so this is going to give them a bit of a defense, but that caught, yeah, there you go. Frisian manages to get out thanks to the Leap of Faith. They don't have the second, they're not 20. APOC going out, manages to hit the Anduin, and I think Jaina died just before it. Anubrak burrow charging out, trying to get to the base before the pyro hits. Ancestral onto X-Havoc, and there's the White Bomb, slowing down the backline, chasing down the Blaze, who is chasing down the Kael'thas. And now 2Calculated2Throw, trying to get out as their health bars are very low, but Tanner also very low, not able to get the channel into that bunker. But here we've got the boss getting structure damage onto the keep. We've got catapults in the bot lane that'll ultimately get cleared out. They did clear out the Web Weaver, and 4-man rotation pulled in onto the Blaze. It's a 4v2 with only a Jaina to defend. And they're clearing the Web Weaver instead of going on the core, which has no shields. X-Havoc, trying to keep his team alive, uses that Hellgate to get away, but the big charge coming out from Anubrak, and Jaina there to provide the damage necessary to push them back. I think that was maybe not the right call if you're 2Calculated2Throw. You have a 4-2 advantage, and you've got a mage with limited radius and long cooldowns. I think that that's a core call. And what does this have? So it had maybe, well, out of 20,000, so it's at 70%. Okay, so it's 14,000 health that it would have had, right? And now it's basically doubled that health. Well, not doubled, it's 50% more. That's okay. A little bit longer of a game. Don't worry, everybody. We got nothing better to do. Starting a little bit late tonight. We did have a bit of a delayed start, but oh my goodness, the Blaze dropping the bunker to keep alive does get caught, but ultimately able to get out, and Lunara throwing out that dot damage, trying to keep things going. Rhaegar gets it put in the cocoon. Look at all of the damage onto Anubrak, trying not to spread that bomb, but does get it passed over to Jaina. Jaina in a little bit of trouble here, right against that wall. Diablo gets chastised and prevents Jaina from instant death from the Lord of Terror. And now with level 20s online, which have been around for a little bit, things are not looking so great for Team Rekt'Em. And with their level 20 advantage, they're looking to come in, maybe try to get some pressure here on the core, maybe even trying to make a core call. I don't know that I would. I don't know that I would do this after the fact that they just left. But the charge in onto Anubrak, the flip ice block from Jaina. But look at all that damage. Anubrak's going to end up going not quite yet down, but in fact it's going to be Jaina that goes down. And with this fight, they are going to secure 3 kills. And now they make the play. They start working on the core, 40%, and look at that health bar melt with that Nature's Culling. And unfortunately, Fear, you just mistyped the time the jump. I'm sorry, you lose all of the points because you didn't jump at the right time. Game number 1, Tomb of the Spider Queen going over to 2Calculated2Throw. Taking a look at our stats here, 17 kills to 2. Very heavily in favor of 2Calculated2Throw there. Really getting some significant value out of the Lunara Kael'thas damage, along with the CC from Diablo and Imperius. We do see quite a difference in healing too between the Anduin and the Rhaegar. Let's take a look at those talents. Let's see how those look. So overall, probably the right build. I think at level 7, binding heal's tough to fully justify. I think the what's it called? Blessed Recovery, maybe? I think that provides a lot of value, especially when you're talking about things like the Kael'thas Living Bomb that's getting spread around, or a Diablo charge or anything like that. It just gives you that extra self-healing when you get CC'd by some of those things. Was it the right call? I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows? But a little bit low on the overall healing numbers for Anduin in that fight. Let's see. So it looks like our next game is getting ready to be set up here. So let's go ahead and pop back over to my beautiful face. Welcome back, everybody. Glad to see you. Danalore in chat. You hit the core, right? They hit the core. They pushed their buttons. They made it happen. So, all right. Let's see. Our next match is going to be Infernal Shrines. Let's go ahead and get that set. Infernal Shrines. Infernal Shrines being picked up by 2Calculated2Throw, as Team Rekt'Em wanted first pick. And I agree. You know, Rekt'Em did get the... They did make some aggressive plays. They got some kills there as the game went on. They started to hit their stride, but ultimately they were a little bit too far behind, and that left them in a bit of a struggle trying to go into those level 20s. I still kind of question the withdrawal without going on to the core, because there were a couple of times they actually had the opportunity to kill the core there. The first time when Imperius goes in the top lane, and then of course, actually maybe that's the same one. I was gonna say when Lunara went to put damage on it, but ultimately, whatever. They won the game. They brought the core down, and they get the first point of the matchup. So now they're looking to bring home a second point and potentially a third point if they can get this as a domination victory. So there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, chat, we'll be back in just a moment. Call it roughly, I don't know, 60 seconds or so. And we'll get back into game number 2 here. Welcome back, everybody. I missed you. That was a long 60 seconds or so of time. Sounds like at least one of the teams is ready. Sounds like both of the teams are ready. So we're going to get into this draft in just a moment. The Cats trailer. I don't roll cats up in here. I only roll official Blizzard commercials. Infernal Shrines. All right, so a little bit, some things similar between Infernal Shrines and Tomb of the Spider Queen, because of course wave clear very important. And you know, from those last 2 teams, many of those heroes could be picked here as well. We could still see that Kael'thas. We could potentially even see the Lunara. Diablo gets a lot of value banging people into walls here. Imperius as well, kind of a narrow focus for some of these inlets into the control points. Hanzo can get some value here. I don't personally find him super great, but maybe I don't play him very well. Blaze, much the same as the Imperius, I think gets good value here as well, but maybe into a Combustion, Jaina, Anub'arak, Anduin. All of these heroes have value here, so we may see some similarities, but right out of the gate so far, we're seeing the exact same things as we saw in game number 1 so far. And there goes the Diablo, and you know what? That's fair. Diablo picked up his stride later in the game, was missing a fair number of those shadow charges in the beginning, but ultimately was able to land some clutch plays and really make those APOCs work. So I'm okay with this. Anduin and Anub'arak, just right now what we had last game. Make sure I've got that all set up correctly. We're not even on the draft. My bad, guys. There you go. And with the Kael'thas and Diablo ban, we're gonna see the door opened up for Johanna. Johanna banned out last game by Team Rekt'Em. And let's see, where did that go? Minus 50. No, I need my DKP. So Gul'dan, another hero that was banned out last game, is going to go ahead and get picked up here, as well as the Alex Straza. Both fantastic. This is good maps for both of these heroes. Alex Straza helping to provide that Dragon Queen bonus that extra early heroic for the control points. I shouldn't call them control points, the shrines. And Rainer Stukov. So Rainer, you know, does get a little bit of that shrine clear, but ultimately I think he's getting picked up more for the potential defense, but also the big damage onto, excuse me, the enemy team. And ban into the Alexstrasza Gul'dan, so Genji, okay, fair enough. Don't want that dive coming in. Tanner on the Stukov. What do we got? Johanna, Rainer, Stukov. Got it. And then ETC is going to be the final ban here. Kind of surprised. I think ETC has a lot of counters on the other side. Even I don't know that I would have picked ETC into what they're showing right now. I do have an idea of what they might be going into, but I would be surprised if they do that. Okay, they're not. Nubrak and Junkrat. All right, fair enough. So we're getting the bouncy mines and the serious poke damage coming out from them here with the Gul'dan, with the Junkrat. Let's take a look. What do you guys think Junkrat has for stats these days? Junkrat, load. Another hero with a pretty low win rate in Division D East. We're going to see the Rexar and Illidan picked up on Team Rekt'Em. Not heroes that we've seen. Well, we haven't seen Illidan anyways for quite some time. Making his debut on this map with all kinds of camps. And of course, he did get just a little bit of a buff. And in response, Fear taking the Arthas to make sure that things slow down a little bit. And you know what? Let's take a look. My guess is that Illidan has not been played, but why don't we take a look and see what happens? 0-0-0. So tonight is Illidan's debut after 10,000 years. He has made it back into the game. It's really only been a few months, Illidan. Kind of dramatic. Oh, the Pogs are coming out. Is that Pogs? Yeah, that's Pogs. Okay, cool. I'm up to date on my Twitch lingo. Love to see it. All right, so a whole bunch of auto attack damage on the side of Team Rekt'Em. We've got no real slows, no real blinds, but we do have plenty of slows. The Junkrat mines are going to be difficult to land onto Illidan, potentially, but that does give Alexstrasza some potential for, you know, defensive play. Just go stand on a mine, concussion mine. All right. For the blue team, we've got Jurgen Derb on Gul'dan, Fear on Arthas, X-Havoc on Nubrak, Galderais on Alexstrasza, and Hunter X on Junkrat. For 2Calculated2Throw. For Team Rekt'Em, we've got To Smell on Rexar, Frisian on Rainer. Let's see. Tanor is going to be rolling on that Stukov, Jesus Mafia on Illidan. And I don't want to say it wrong. You got to move. There we go. Nerasor. Is that right? Nerasor. Close enough. On Johanna. And Stukov checking the bush all by himself. Face checking right into a potential death. And it is a first blood. 25 seconds into the game. Could be a second blood as Illidan trying to get away. And does do so. Misha taking loads of Gul'dan damage, stacking up that corruption quest. And we do see the Frostmourne Hungers build coming out from Fear on the Arthas there. Looking to get the mana return and additional damage. Interestingly enough, bouncy out of the Junkrat. Getting extra damage when bouncing off of walls. 1 minute. Camps are available, and we do see the rotation here from 2Calculated2Throw coming in, bringing in Gul'dan, Alexstrasza, and a Nubrak as Junkrat getting some poke damage, trying to soak that lane. And now pulling back as Team Rekt'Em showing up to the party. But unfortunately for them, this party does not include a siege camp, as 2Calculated does get their siege camp on the board. And of course, keep in mind, the siege camps last week were buffed a bit. And almost as if they remembered they have them, Team Rekt'Em is going to rotate down, start that camp, but they instead see that Junkrat is down here, and they're going to grab the soak instead, leaving the siege camp in the mid lane to take out some of the minions here. And with that, that leaves 2Calculated2Throw to come down here and work on their bot camp. I want to see Illidan doing Illidan things. Right now, I feel like Illidan's just hanging out doing things he doesn't need to be doing. I feel like he needs to be on these camps, providing value to his team. What do we have at level 1 for Illidan? So he did have that unending hatred, basically the seasoned marksman. Concussion Mine throws Illidan over into the enemy team, but he just dives right on out. And 3v3 here in the bot lane. Nothing too exciting to report. Let's check in on Misha. Misha in trouble as Fear is gonna take down the bear. XP lead slightly in favor of 2Calculated2Throw, as the first Punisher of the game is coming up. It's going to be an Arcane Punisher. And now, with the Punisher coming online, they're going to go ahead and grab their camp, get that pressure started in the mid lane, so that that's going while they're fighting here over this shrine. And up in the top, Misha back on the table, Fear trying to get some root quests. No, he didn't take the root quest, never mind, just trying to get the damage in. Illidan going in onto the Alexstrasza, and level 7's coming up here pretty soon for both teams, pretty equal, and the big damage coming out from Gul'dan onto the back line there, and Galderia is popping that Dragon Queen. 6 to 13, 10 to 13 now, as Team Rekt'Em will pull back. And of course, Rexar never quite got into that fight because he was too busy in the top lane, but now here he comes, and the root hitting to Raynor in the back there, getting slowed down, is Arthas, blinded, trying to make his way around, but there are so many health bars in between, so many bodies preventing him from getting out. Jürgen trying to make it out as well. Havoc burrowing in to try to make sure that Gul'dan can make it out alive. 25 to 20, and this looks like it's going to go over to Team Rekt'Em. Havoc coming in, getting a little bit of poke damage out there. Seems a little bit questionable, but I guess because Rexar was in that top lane, was okay with going in. And thankfully for Havoc, there's a root there, but now Jürgen has a bear chasing him down, trying to continue the damage onto the minions, but it's gonna be Rexar who gets caught and deleted from the game. 39-40 for Team Rekt'Em, but they did get the 1 kill for 2Calculated, so 2 kills to 1. And now they can defend this Punisher a little bit easier, maybe prevent it from taking any significant structure damage. As Fear looking to take the Punisher for a walk. You know what? It had a hefty meal, needs to lose a couple of calories. And now the flip over the wall to get the damage going in. Galderia is not necessarily the person you want the Punisher punching in the face, as Alexstrasza's healing, of course, going down as her health bar goes down. Already done with quest. Which quest are we looking at here? So I don't know who you're talking about. Oh, the level 1 quest. Yeah, I mean, it's Arthas into Amisha, right? You press D and you win the video game. And that's going to be a lot of value for them as they go on in the game, if he's able to continue to stack that up, because of course that also adds damage, not just the mana return. The mana return caps out, but the damage continues. Mid lane siege camp picked up for 2Calculated2Throw. Both teams, again, remarkably close in XP, which is a point in favor of Team Rekt'Em because all of the camps, with the exception of one, have been in the control of 2Calculated2Throw. And it looks like we might see the first... Not quite. I was going to say the first structure damage, but it doesn't look like it's going to be happening. Slow playing here, trying to clear out the bot lane, get that siege camp obliterated. We've got a big push coming in the top lane, and keep in mind too that this is one of those examples of your solo lane doing what he needs to do. He's staying back near the base so that he can't get caught out, can't get killed, and maybe he loses a little bit of the damage from the minions, but he's taking it all and making sure that he gets all of that soak, and doing so safely. And now level 10's online for both teams almost at the same time. Let's zoom out a little bit just to see what's going on here. We've got the hunt from Illidan, the Rexar going Bestial Wrath, which he just popped, trying to take out Arthas up here. Arthas does have army, but looking to try to get out without using it, popping that death coil for the heal, in fact. We've got the Rainer's Raider, as well as Blessed Shield and the Flailing Swipe. On the other side, we've got Rocket Ride, Cocoon, Horrify, that Army of the Dead, and Lifebinder from Alex Raza. So it's going to be nearly impossible to kill Arthas based on having all of those defensive abilities. Rocket Ride gives Junkrat the potential to get out, and they don't have necessarily... No, they really do. They have a ton of ways to break Rocket Ride. I mean, if they're quick on it. They've got the Q from Raynor, they've got technically the Blessed Shield from Johanna, the Flailing Swipe, Silence, even Misha Charge. So I was questioning whether that was the right call. I definitely continue as the hunt going in onto Galderaz, trying to pop that Lifebinder to stay alive, but not able to keep the life bar up enough to survive the onslaught from Illidan and his team. Jesus Mafia popping that mount, riding that golden rooster. Shrine is active in the top lane. This is a frozen shrine. We've got a 5v4 currently, as both teams moving in onto the point. Again, remarkably close in XP. Fear deep into the enemy team, trying to get as much value out of that AoE slow and damage. Flailing Swipe trying to knock everybody back, but they're so close to the wall they didn't even move. Fear as well. And ultimately, all it's going to accomplish is a dead Arthas and more minions for Team Rekt'Em. Knockback going out onto the Anubrak, and a big stun from something. I guess it must have been the bear, because it wasn't Blessed Shield. It looked like it might have been, but 34 minions or skeletal defenders going over to Team Rekt'Em. So it looks like this second Punisher is also going over to Rekt'Em, and they've got they definitely have control of these shrines at this point. That being said, still not a lot of structure damage in this game. Not a lot of kills in this game. 2 to 3 in the kills. And with the shutdown coming out of the Frozen Punisher and Illidan with his ability to just keep jumping, it looks like we are going to see the first fort of the game going down. That being said, 2Calculated2Throw has the answer, which is to get all of the camps, get that pressure in those other lanes. And with that, Rekt'Em will back away. And watching out for these roots, we did get a couple of 2Calculated caught by those roots, and a little bit of damage onto the keep. Not a whole lot, but it doesn't take much, just as we saw in the last game. A little bit of health on that keep kept it in the game for a good 10 to 12 extra minutes. And Mona, in a minute you're going to hear me say this, but there, well, never mind. There goes the hunt in onto Junkrat, and unfortunately, as mentioned, Nothing to do with that rocket ride. Can't get out of it when you get stunned and then silenced by the Stukov. And that's exactly what I was just going to say, was that I feel like the Riptire would have been the far better option for them here. The Horrify going out, but limited potential follow-up. And now Gul'dan getting swiped away from his team, gets pushed back. Staggered death there. It's going to be 25 seconds, but another potential kill coming in onto Arthas. This looks like a very different team as Rekt'Em bring in the pain onto 2Calculated2Throw. And with this aggression in the bot lane, they're going to go ahead and get yet another structure down. 2 forts now for Team Rekt'Em. And we do have level 13s here online for both teams, but keep in mind, not all that long ago, both of these teams were neck and neck in XP, and now Rekt'Em with the 1.5 level lead. And that will only continue to provide benefit as they now have the 40% bonus to the trickle XP. Big root going out onto 2, keeping the Illidan locked down for long enough to take some dot damage from the corruptions. Another root getting the Stukov, but he does have Flailing Swipe available now, so a great potential to disengage as 2Calculated now electing to come up, start working on their Shaman camp. Mortar Punisher coming up in the bot lane next, and this favors Team Rekt'Em a little bit as they have their structure available, they have their well available. But now they're making the play to go in onto the aggressive siege camp. They do have level 16s. Let's take a look at those. Not a whole lot that 2Calculated2Throw can do about that. But here comes that shrine. This should give them the opportunity to clear up the bot lane, alleviate some of that pressure. And don't mind me just turning off some fans here as we things are cooling off in the East Coast. And now, once again, pressure gonna be in favor of Team Rekt'Em, as that Shaman camp is gonna be pushing with a catapult that's coming right behind it. Here we go into this engage. Root and silence onto the Arthas, preventing him from being able to even pop the army. And now, what looked like it could have started out as a decent place for them, getting those level 16s now. Just a moment later, they get those level 16s and have an even fight. But now they don't have the option to even really poke into this. And what they're doing now, I think, is the wrong play. I think that they should have just backed away, killed the top lane, make sure that that was cleaned up, and then come back down to defend the Punisher. At this point, I don't think that this camp gets any real significant value, and they're still here, which is going to lead to, unfortunately, another death. And value being picked up by the siege camp, but there's the Horrify to keep him away, but this Flailing Swipe is going to get Jürgenderb and Galdriais one-way tickets to the graveyard. And now Junkrat being the only potential defense here, as Arthas in the top lane trying to keep that top keep alive. And Junkrat's got to be careful here. He's already found that that rocket ride is not going to save him if they use their cooldowns appropriately. Does get jumped on by the Punisher, and good night, Gracie. And with that, with a 2/3 health Punisher, we see Team Rekt'Em marching on the core. And there they go. Even Stukov trying to get in on this, getting the damage out. The Illidan hunt in onto the Arthas, who was trying to slow things down, but ultimately just too much damage as Team Rekt'Em takes game number 2. That number 2 is popping up tonight. First game we had 17 kills to 2. This game we have 2 kills to 12. Much different game. Let's take a look at these healing numbers. Very much the same as game number 1, but in the exact opposite columns here, as Stukov picking up more healing, again, basically double from Alexstrasza. Much the same as game 1 in the other direction. Lots of healing coming out there from Tanor there. As far as damage, take a look at that. Top 3 hero damage, all on 2Calculated2Throw. But ultimately, it's Team Rekt'Em that got the kills, which is, again, reflected in that healing. And that healing could just be a combination of, you know, isolated kills, because that's really what cost them the game, I think. The one-offs where one player was, you know, too far forward, whether it was Arthas, whether it was Junkrat, whether it was even Anubrak at times. Gul'dan getting, you know, having the opportunity for Stukov to circle around and flailing swipe into the team. So, but ultimately we're going to a game number 3. So chat, let's see, how many of you are there? There are currently 18 people in chat, some of you, of course, being in the game. It looks like quite the 2Calculated2Throw fan club out there, as much of the Calculated2Throw team showing up for the support for their home team. Officially, it's home team, right? But if you're out there looking to support this Team Rekt'Em, because why not? They got a great name, right? You know, throw them some love. They just had a fantastic game number 2, and looking to bring it back into game number 3. Also, if you're out there and you haven't already followed Arrow of the Storm, I don't know what you're waiting for, because you should just go ahead and hit that follow button. You know what? Let's take a look at the schedule. What is my schedule like this week? So obviously Thursday has passed. We're in the middle of Friday. Tomorrow, I'm actually taking a day off, apparently. I don't have anything to do. There is a possibility I may pick up an 11:30 cast, 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific. So you can certainly check in for that. That'll be Sky 5 versus Wipe Them Again, maybe, I think was who that was. In addition to that, however, I do have a cast on Sunday, 6:30, and also the replay Sunday starting at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And then, of course, come check out Regen Phoenix on Sunday. If you watched the Div C Grand Championships, you are not going to want to miss Sunday evening, as Regen Phoenix bringing in an off-roster sub in the form of Shui, and it's going to be Shui, Murder, and Arrow holding the line against the Rush B offensive from the Div C Grand Championships. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I would not want to miss that. Absolutely true. 100% Grievance. That was a fantastic play from Jesus Mafia. Great hunts in onto the Junkrat, onto the Alexstrasza. Good positioning, you know, good identification of when the enemy team had somebody out of position that they could kill quickly. Their salaries online. Oh snap, 2Calculated2Throw getting the call outs. And let's just get this party started with a little bit of Arrow, a little bit of Alpha, a little bit of Al. Oh, you know what? I haven't even updated my notes. I gotta make sure that I write this out. So right now we have one team. We're missing the other team. So I tell you what, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
king has fallen. A father. A friend. A warrior. Defender of the Alliance. He was a beacon of hope. A leader without measure. A man who would never accept defeat. He was our shield against the storm.
I hate to cut the timer short, but our teams are ready to go, so we don't want to keep them waiting any longer, especially with the late night game here. So, ladies and gentlemen, game number 2 going over to Team Rekt'Em. And game number 3, electing for first pick, was 2Calculated2Throw. So this one is going to be Volskaya Foundry, the selection of Team Rekt'Em. So far, the first pick teams have won each game. So we'll have to see how this goes. We're going to hop right into the draft screen as everybody is ready to go here. And again, I do want to say thank you very much to Slexia for the bits. Always good to see you. And welcome to some of the Regen family. I saw Fox out there and Shui, of course. Welcome. Glad to see you there. And new to the Regen family, for those of you who are not familiar, is Slexia joining Regen Anomaly. Sorry, Mystic. I know. What happens? I need to know what happens between Ragnaros and Varian. And Stukov gonna be the first ban, and I gotta tell you that that feels good because they did ban it on game number 1. They did not ban it on game number 2, and they got punished hard for that. That CC chain into the silence meant that they could not do anything, and of course left their Junkrat exposed a couple of times. And the silence just so good, so good. See? And Johanna getting banned out as well. Johanna is able to just sit on those control points forever. And the Alex Raza ban as well. So some adjustments based on what we've seen so far in the matchup tonight. Let's take a look at what Alex Raza's stats are like here, though, in Div D East. Well, there you go. I don't want to, throw anybody under the bus here, but Alex Strauss's 100% win rate just went straight down the toilet. So, congratulations, Galdrias. That's all your fault. Kale Thoss coming back into the game. instrumental in game number 1 to provide so much blow-up potential. And there's that Genji that was banned out just a moment ago in game number 2. And we're going to see that Anduin once again. So now that Stukov was banned out, Tanor going back to the Anduin. Kael'thas. You know what? Why not? Let's see. What does Anduin look like in Div D? Anduin. Pick rate 16%, 33% win rate. So not doing super hot. You know, it seems like almost all of the heroes that I've popped up have just not been that good on the win rate. Aw, look, and they picked Variant. Are we going to get Ragnaros too? That would be a little bit awkward after I just showed them. X-Havoc making it back onto the Diablo. Of course, that was banned in game number 2, and we are going to see good old Varian Rin coming to the plate. Father versus son. Brightwing gonna be the next ban. Try to keep them from locking down the Genji. Of course, Galderai is calling out the very targeted healer bans. Another Dorito. Oh, look at the Doritos coming in from Mystic. Thank you very much, Mystic. Appreciate you throwing the Doritos. And a new Brak gonna be the final ban. So what do we see? So we've got the Anduin that allows you to pull him back. Genji with the dive. Maybe, do we see a Greymane into this? Nope. Not today. Gonna see Raynor and Leoric. Is that? Yeah, that is. So this time the Raynor with Genji as opposed to Raynor with Illidan. Cassia and Lucio. So a little bit of a different setup coming out here from 2Calculated2Throw. But Galderai on the Lucio gonna be able to give that speed boost to Diablo, and that becomes quite the terrifying Lord of Terror. Not on purpose, but I'll go with it. You know what? Let's look at one last stat. What do we have for Genji in Div D? Oh, and now we've got a Tyrael. Tyrael gonna give the potential for that sanctification. Genji, okay, there you go. So we have a couple of heroes here that have had success in the perhaps one game that they've played. It wouldn't surprise me if both of those heroes were played by the people we see here tonight. Tyrael, also a lower pick rate, but did not win his game, so we shall see how this one turns out. We go into game number 3. Let me take a look here just to make sure everybody's on the right heroes, that I didn't miss anything. I did miss something. Good thing. Good thing I checked. So chat, taking a look at these teams, who do you think's gonna win? We've got the Raynor Genji versus Kael'thas Cassia. Post in chat, 2Calculated2Throw or Team Rekt'Em? And perhaps more importantly, what else do you think we're gonna see? Are we gonna see a Phoenix or are we gonna see a Pyroblast? Are we going to see the Salvation? Maybe an Entomb? I hope it's an Entomb. But let's introduce these teams. From the blue team, we've got Jürgen Derb on Kael'thas, Galderai on Lucio, Hunter X on Cassia, X-Havoc on Diablo, and Fear going to be rolling on the Varian. For Team Rekt'Em, we've got To Smell on Leoric, Nerisor on Tyrael, let's see, Tanor on Anduin, Frisian on the Raynor, and Jesus Mafia on Genji. Ladies and gentlemen, 2Calculated2Throw versus Team Rekt'Em. I'd tell you to make some noise, but I can't hear you. So, wiggle your fingers or something. jazz hands it. And we do see Leoric's going to go ahead and get heading on down into the bot lane early, with Varian going into the top lane. So a little bit of a different setup. I don't know how Varian's going to do into that Leoric, but at least early game, I assume that he just loses, just without even thinking about it. So Q build coming out from Cassia. Repsychic, if you're out there, I know that you're looking at this game going, hey, look, it's party mix again. Everybody loves party mix except for Repsychic. Meh. I think that's actually possibly true. I think I've seen one person not take party mix. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I happen to like the Accelerando as well. Getting around the map very quickly to aid in your team. So we got 120. And both teams coming down, getting onto their fortification camps. Fair enough. That's quite the wiggling of fingers there, Scooter Man. Oh my. All right, rotation up into Varian, but Varian's far enough back here that ultimately, even with this 4-man rotation, they don't really have any significant lockdown other than a Chastise, which moves about at the speed of government regulation. So without additional help, it's going to be very difficult to land those on the regular. Level 4 is online, so it is going to be a taunt Varian, looking to get value out of the Cassia and Kael'thas. So pretty significant value here for the CC chain coming out from 2Calculated2Throw. So a little bit harder to get those kills with these two teams now, though, than they've had earlier. Varian going to go in, going to get booped away by Raynor, though, which is probably for the best. That taunt could have led to a dead Terran, but we're going to see the first control point of the game coming up as Rekt'Em will head up and try to clear out this siege camp. Hey, Scooter Man, I got jokes for days, my friend. Just don't ask me about the Lion King because it was trash. And as we have this control point starting up here, Havoc making his rotation from the bot lane onto the point. Both teams have one turret available, and now the siege camp going out for Team Rekt'Em. And since they pulled theirs later, that should be slightly in their favor as Genji heading back to fill up, get filled on the mana, on the health. Cassia and Leoric in the bot lane trying to get the soak up to level 7. And right now, 50% mark passed. Diablo charging in. Doesn't quite get the stun, though. And to Smell coming in on that hot rod conveyor belt. Nerysor in a little bit of trouble here. I'm not sure if he's got his Q to be able to get out, but he does get taunted. And it's going to be the Leap of Faith that protects him from death as Jurgenderb there on Kael'thas getting the Genji treatment. But Genji so low, doesn't drop the turret, but just barely makes it out as Anduin gets that flash heal onto him, and the push out onto Leoric, trying to keep them off of this point long enough for overtime to finish, but it's just not enough. Gallirai is very low, trying to use the reverse amp to heal up and slow the other team. Tyrael going to go down as that pushback, but they do lose the control point. And it's going to flip over to Team Rekt'Em, at least for now, as they do have that turret down in place. And up in the top lane here, they realize they're taking fort wall damage here. So they're going to go ahead and clear this up. They have a good 60 seconds still on this fight. Right, Mystic? Hit your F buttons. Don't forget you have them. And they did eventually, of course. Probably about the time when the stream caught up and let them know that that turret was still there. 2Calculated2Throw, I like this. They're taking what advantage they can. I don't think they have enough time to get the turret camp now, but they do have the healing camp. And right now, we've got Team Rekt'Em coming back to get their turret camp, but the charge in onto Nerysor, Tyrael trying to survive, popping the shields, getting out with his Eldruins. And Genji trying to deflect his way to victory. Lucio almost dead here. The flip onto to small. Little bit sketchy because that puts him right into Lucio, but ultimately both to small and Tyrael gonna go down together. And these health bars all about half for 2Calculated2Throw, and I think that Team Rekt'Em thought maybe if we get him a little bit lower, Genji can pop off and get swift strikes all over the place. But Raynor gets caught into the wall by Diablo and is going to be the next kill. And the first protector of the game going over to 2Calculated2Throw, and this is looking very strong for them now as level 10 just around the corner for them. Wall down in the mid lane. Protector at about half health, and they're going to go ahead and come up here, clear up the lane, and start working on what they can get structure-wise out of the top lane. Try to get maybe this top tower, and if they can manage it, which I don't know that there's enough health at this point, they might even be able to get that well. If nothing else, they'll get a little bit of damage on it. And it is Diablo and Cassia in the point there, so they are going to be able to get out, walk away, and let's take a look at these talents again. Level 10's online, so we do see the Shield Wall for Varian, the Pyroblast for Kael'thas, Lightning Breath for Diablo, Ball Lightning for Cassia, and Sound Barrier for Lucio. And there's still a lot of potential to counter that salvation, so they do go into the Light Bomb. X-Strike gonna be the pick for Genji to help him to get out of the bad. There's the Entomb, which can also, again, couple really well with the X-Strike. Get everybody caught in there, and you have a nice, easy place to drop that X. Sanctification coming out from Tyrael, and then Raynor's Raider for Raynor. Up in the top lane here, clearing up the camps. Working on their soak. A full level almost for 2Calculated2Throw. And with the vision of them in the top lane, they're going to come down here and start working on this bottom turret. If they're going to do this, I would like to see them get some kind of value in the bot lane now, because with this camp here, they should be able to, well, they're backing out, so never mind. They're going to come up here. I don't know. I think that if they pushed in the bot lane, Rekt'Em probably stays in the top lane. Maybe they both, get damage there, but the game doesn't typically get lost on the second protector. It gets lost on the third protector. And now 5v4, Fear going in, trying to get into onto Frisian, but the boop back prevents him from getting caught there. Diablo staying on this point, and now Leoric in. Look for this big Entomb. Look at them all lined up. That's a huge potential. 4 of them. Lightning Breath is doing all of the damage, but Sanctification coming out. Genji in the back line, but it's going to be Diablo first going down. Narasor on Tyrael is also going to follow him, but the Pyroblast coming in onto Raynor is going to finish the job. And Galdraez on Lucio, so close, does go down, and the healing. The biotic emitter's right there, guys. Pick it up and drop it. And Red Team gets it. Rekt'Em gets the biotic emitter, but ultimately is gonna go down a full team wipe. I mean, I know I saw it happen, but I feel like more happened there, and that everybody should have just died. That's just how it looked to me. But that's okay. They got a little bit of damage here onto the fort. The minions getting some value there, and everybody back on the table. Level 13's online for both teams here. What are we gonna see? Jason with the raid of 11 people. Welcome everybody to Late Night Heroes of the Storm. We're on game 3 between 2Calculated2Throw and Team Rekt'Em. Leo going in, pops the Entomb onto 3, and look at that light bomb coming out, hits 2. Big shields going out from the Lucio, and X-Strike hitting into the back line to Small. Ed Half gets flipped, charge in as well onto anyways, that guy. And Lightning Breath coming out to Small, trying to make it out. The Chastise does hit onto Kael'thas, throwing out the Flame Strike, but to Small is going to go down. 52% channeled so far for 2Calculated2Throw, and Galdriice saying, Diablo, do not throw them into me this time. I have no health. And now the channel back online for 2Calculated2Throw. Tyrael coming in. We've got Lucio and Kael'thas getting this siege camp. Going to be able to provide them that extra pressure. 80% now. They're going to be coming in anytime now to make sure that this channel's into overtime. No items, so let's just zoom in and see what happens. Tyrael diving in with that Q. The taunt onto the Rainer, though. Charge on the Tyrael into the back line. However, the Warden, not the Warden's Cage, anyways, the Leoric thing, the Entomb, does manage to hit a couple, but it's Rainer who gets caught. Even with the Sanctification, will ultimately go down. Jesus Mafia shredding all over the place, but Deflect is not going to get a kill. X strikes to try to stay alive. And look at the slow-moving Pyroblast is just barely able to get that Deflect, I'm sure. That had to be on cooldown. And Narasaur zipping all over the place with Eldruins, trying to stay alive long enough to get a kill here. Isn't going to quite make it, and Genji getting taunted by the Varian. And now it's just Anduin and Genji against a Protector. And the king, the true king of Stormwind. Top lane gonna go down. 16's online. I don't know. Maybe they could have gotten... They got a siege camp. I think maybe they could have gotten this wall and then maybe moved on to the mid lane. But that's okay. They're setting up for the next round. Such is life. Varian getting this soak in the bot lane. And now with a full Protector, or nearly full Protector, they're going to march on their way down here to the bot lane. Get the preparation for this next round. Get the well down, and with as full as the Protector is, I'll be a little bit surprised if they don't get this fort down. Not my king. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can ride the Anduin waves if you want to. Look at that living bomb spreading off of the fort, hitting several members of Team Rekt'Em. And now moving on to the not fort wall. There we go. We get the tower shut down, damage going in, and now they've got to back away. There's no time left as the Leap of Faith used to pull Tyrael out of the danger zone. Speaking of danger zone, in case you didn't know, there's a new Top Gun Maverick trailer out tonight. Not tonight, it was out earlier today, but we're talking tonight. I feel like we can talk like this. We're all friends here. Hail the... Oh, Mystic. We're not friends anymore, buddy. Sylvanas has to burn. And besides, it's the King of Stormwind. You can't dispute that fact. Biotic Emitter is going to get picked up just a little bit before Team Rekt'Em can show up to the party. Now, this is a little questionable. This is iffy. This is Varian being very far forward with the only item they currently have in the game by himself against 4. The root lands, and yeah, okay, so ultimately he's now far enough back that Genji gets taunted, charged in. Light Bomb, I guess it did it. Yeah, full cooldown. Didn't hit anybody because of the death. There goes the Ball Lightning, bouncing around the Entomb into the back, trying to keep things slowed down. Taunt. Oh no, and Tanor. Oh, Varian. Oh, you just killed your boy. Oh, it feels so bad. 2 deaths on Team Rekt'Em, and now we're getting that siege damage in the top lane that I mentioned earlier. They're going to be able to at least get this wall if they actually commit to it with the siege camp, with the couple of minions that they've got. And they've got Lucio. They can heal this all up. And now only Anduin dead, so plenty of damage. They're level 19, so I like this. They're backing away. They got the damage there. They set it up for a later time, and now they can start working on soak, because now the dreaded point C coming online in probably the next 20 seconds or so, I would guess. We'll see. We'll call it 16:20 is when I think it's probably gonna be 16:30 just to spite me. But it'll be coming up soon either way. They're trying to get to that level 20 before that control point. 14! I should have stuck with my 20 seconds when I said it, because it was exactly 20 seconds. The boy had it coming, fair enough. Oh man. Alright, so this is the fight that, well, not anymore. It was the fight that Team Rekt'Em wanted, and now they're in a bit of a bad spot as they're all in the same choke point. Out goes the ball lightning. Here comes Sanctification, the light bomb going up, but it's gone with Genji's X-Strike. A little bit of counter synergy there as lightning coming out from Diablo, going for days. Nerazor, Tyrael in the backline trying to get anything to work, but just 2 more deaths. And now all 5 of 2Calculated2Throw are up, and they're grabbing this turret camp, but they need to be on this keep. They're going to the control point. They should be on this keep, getting this keep down at the very least. Maybe even game, I think. I think that could have been game. Maybe I'm incorrect. Here comes Leoric coming back into the game, giving them a 3-person defense against this 4-person push. And it is going to be the keep. They are going to get it. And they're going to pull back. Getting out of dodge. And now, if you are Team Rekt'Em, you have to make a choice. You've got about 30 seconds. Do you try to get onto the point and slow it up? Or do you defend at your core? And I think that if they defend at their core, they lose the game. And they are not moving quickly enough to stall the point, so they're ultimately just going to have to dance around in between, apparently. And diving in, the Entomb goes out onto Varian, but Varian, the shield coming out from Lucio, I expect that there's the protected to keep him alive. Cassia and Diablo both in the point. There's the light bomb onto Genji, does manage to hit 2 this time. And Genji diving in, trying to get those big resets, but not quite able to kill anybody. And now Genji in a little bit of trouble at 200 health as the protector marching its way down. Leoric in a bunch of trouble down here, trying to stay onto the Kael'thas, slow down the damage. Lucio, though, is gonna be chased down, but is not gonna get taken out, as in the opposite lane, the tanks chasing down Anduin and Leoric, able to get the kill. Thought I heard Pyroblast. It looks like that was interrupted, probably because of range. And now Punisher, which honestly I think should have just gone straight to the core. The whole team could have just gone there, but you know, stuff and things. They got bigger things to do, like not killing the core. Oh man, if that Punisher went after the keep, I was gonna be mad. Looked like it was going that way for just a moment. Leoric coming back in 5 seconds here. The root onto Varian here, and the big taunt onto Nerazor. Tyrael taking loads of damage, 40 health reduction, trying to get the value out of that Tyrael trait as the core now down fully on the shield. The Entomb going out onto Kael'thas, but the gravity lapse. Jesus Mafia with that lightning, I'm sorry, with the whatever it's called from Anduin, I already forgot. Getting the stun, but the kill going in onto Leoric. Varian gets the taunt onto Raynor, and now that the protector is gone, 2Calculated2Throw is going to go ahead and actually start not hitting the core. Working on their stats, 24 kills to 3, getting the big W. And chat, kill the core, focus the core, win the video game. Oh my goodness, 24 kills to 3, as I just mentioned, and once again the teams sticking with that first pick winner. All right, let's see if we can get Fear in for a chat, or I guess whoever else Fear would like to send in. And we'll see what kind of fun and exciting things we can find from our good buddy Fear. Dear God, coming out. And ladies and gentlemen, 2-1, 2Calculated2Throw, taking that win over Team Rekt'Em. Quite a thrilling series, very back and forth there. The first game being mostly in favor of 2Calculated2Throw. The second game very much in favor of Team Rekt'Em. And of course the third game going the other direction again. Quite the seesaw. And welcome, we are now joined by Fear. Just so you're aware, you are currently muted.
Why, hello.
You know what? I don't think we've actually gotten to talk. We've only had plenty of opportunities to type.
Yeah, it's been a lot of text communications here.
Well, I'm glad that
Sliding
we're...
into the DMs and all that.
Yeah, hey, don't say that too loudly. There are people in chat.
I don't know what you're talking about, chat.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I'm glad that you're able to join me tonight, and I appreciate that you guys made the effort to stay a little bit later. Of course, the game was originally expected to start at 9:30, and we started at 10:30 Eastern time. So I appreciate you guys being patient and understanding with the other team, and electing to play the game as opposed to accept a forfeit. But
yeah, you know,
go ahead. Sorry.
Scheduling's hard. You know, life happens. People have to, you know, delay things, so it happens.
Sure. I'm not gonna go back to chat because I'm not gonna address those things. But how are you feeling after that matchup? So that was quite. I was just saying it was quite a bit of back and forth. How you feeling after that?
Shout out to Stukov carry in the second game. Oh my God.
No doubt, absolutely.
Those silences were brutal, especially once he got the root combo.
Yep.
That was what tipped us, because we couldn't use any of our sustain or anything like that with no abilities activated. So like I didn't get ults off in like 3 of the fights. I had it up, just couldn't use it. So shout out to Stukov, MVP of game 2.
Yeah, no doubt. That second game was very strong against you guys. It was a little bit tough. You guys were trying to make your plays in there, and like you said, just getting shut down by the Stukov, and just their overall team comp worked really well against you. And
it was hard for us to feel for the back line.
Right. Especially when 10,000 years later, Illidan shows up to the party, and anybody that's 5 feet away from where they should be is suddenly dead, right?
Yep.
So tell me,
if you're at the midpoint, you die.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Which I think, for what it's worth, and I'm gonna harp on this to my solo lane. I think if you're at the midpoint, you die is a general rule of thumb at this point. If you're the solo lane,
that's pretty fair. Yeah.
Right. So I do want to shout out to Mystic, who threw out 105 bips and says calculated power but kill the core. So I had to make sure I threw that out there for you guys, because both games maybe went on a little bit longer than they had to, right?
Maybe a little bit. It was one of those things where we didn't want to be too aggressive and get caught out, especially game 3 with the Genji. You know what I mean? It was hard to watch the Kael'thas and the core at the same time.
For sure. So tell me, with tonight being a little bit later than you guys had originally intended, what was going through your guys' team for that extra hour? Did you get some practice time in? Did you take a nap? Like, how did that go for you guys?
At least one of us took a nap. A lot of us went and grabbed sandwiches and that kind of stuff, which we normally do after the game. But everybody kind of tried to fuel up and make sure we weren't going to be passed out at the computer in game 2.
Which, of course, game 2 being the one that you guys apparently passed out for, but ultimately you came back in game 3. And these games were not like all 3 of the games. None of them were really close games. They were all pretty strongly in favor of one team. So I've got to ask you, game 1, you guys do really well throughout 99% of the game. You get some kills, they get a couple of kills, but really it's your match, right? You get the boss and you're pressuring elsewhere, you do very well. A couple times questionable, running off when people are looking at the core and then nothing happens, right? But then you get game number 2 and it's turned 180 degrees. And how does that go for your team? Like, what is the feeling while you're in the middle of that game? And when you get to the end of that game, how do you come back into it and have what ultimately is this game number 3 where you say, great, we win? How does that work out?
Well, it was
for you?
one of those things where as soon as the game ended, everybody called out the Stukov like, oh god, we cannot play Stukov again. It was one of those things where we felt that he was enough of a problem that we didn't really have an answer to him with the people that we had online tonight. We wanted to make sure we got that out of the way and try and take first pick to see if we can get the Kael'thas in again, because that was another big factor for us in game 1.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing. Oh, we wanted to make sure we waited to see what they picked before in round 1 before really deciding what our strategy was going to be this game.
Sure.
Which we didn't really do in game 1. I mean, game 2.
Gotcha. Understood. And I did notice some Kerrigan bans.
Yep.
Not a hero that we see a lot of. So apparently, I'm under the assumption that somebody on Team Rekt'Em plays Kerrigan a fair amount, enough that you thought that was worth banning.
May or may not have been a target ban for Mafia.
Gotcha.
I looked at his Heroes profile account, I believe. Had Kerrigan and like Genji on the top 3, so I was like, well, I really don't feel like dealing with Kerrigan.
Yeah, fair enough.
Especially if a good Kerrigan combo just ruins your whole day.
Right. So Mystic has asked me, and I feel obliged considering he just threw 105 bips in the channel. Has asked me to ask you if you as in the team, not just you as an individual, know how to hit F. Of course, for those items.
No, we do not use items. It's against our religious beliefs. It's one of those things where, we're in a team fight, we're communicating, like, 3 people ask to use items, and I'm like, yeah, use them, and they're like, wait, did you say use them? So.
Right, yeah, for sure.
A little bit of mic issues, I think, because I think my mic was cutting out from my fan.
Gotcha. And there was actually early in the game, and it wasn't you guys, it was Genji, who had their first turret, and you guys nearly killed him. He had like 10 health.
Yeah,
and they're going, drop the damn turret,
It was the ultimate calculated play. Play. Pro.
and you guys had that fight over the support camp, which ultimately ended in like annihilation. I think that might even be where all of their kills in the last game came from, because I think there were only 3 kills. And
yeah, I think it might have been.
Yeah, and like almost nobody survives, and yet that support camp stays up for so long. And I'm not talking the monster, I'm talking the bionic emitter.
The actual emitter. Yeah, nobody attacked the emitter once.
Well, nobody picked it up.
Yeah.
And then ultimately,
we were trying to click on it.
Up.
We were trying to click on it, and I think Tyrael teleported in and bumped one of us out of the way when we were trying to click on it. So instead, we clicked on Tyrael and ended up attacking him instead of picking it up, and then they grabbed it.
Which ultimately didn't provide them any value. They did pick it up, they dropped it, and they died. So the value that they got out of that was to prevent you from picking it up and getting even more value. So,
but they did get the XP value, so don't deny that.
Fair enough.
Camp
I
XP.
I didn't actually look to see who won the XP. I was just looking at the item.
Yeah, I think it was Leo channeled it.
Fair enough. And I gotta tell you, in all seriousness, you guys, I feel like got away with more than you should have in that last game. There were some serious entombs there that, especially if you guys got to 20, you're
entombs with a light bomb combo were pretty strong. But I think what it was that I think Kael'thas was outside of it most of them.
Most of them.
If I'm remembering correctly, he was able to throw his stun into it, and then it kind of equalized a bit.
Absolutely. Well, good deal. Listen, you guys played a couple of great games tonight, and one certainly to look back and learn from. What do you want to say out there to Chatland, which has been very active while we've been talking? Anything you want to say to, let's see, who do we have here? Danelor, Scooterman, Grievance, Mystic, of course, as I mentioned a couple times, Murda, and a few other people from the Regen community out there. What do you want to say to those folks? And then, by all means, go on to your shout-outs.
I mean, so far so good this season, so maybe we'll see a calculated 3-throw next season. Get the hype going.
See if you can't get a promotion out of D and make a new version in D, and you guys go to C, and maybe Calculated Throw sees their way into B. Is that what you're looking for?
You know, ambition doesn't hurt, and if we're calculating, the math's all there.
Fair enough. All right, what shout-outs do you have, my friend?
Hunter for agreeing to stay up late. Thanks, man. I love it. He was the one who took the nap, so, you know, good on you, man. And as always, Gald for keeping me alive when I should have died 3 times. So, thank you guys.
Good deal. And of course, I've been saying it Galdrice, is that correct?
I think so.
All right, well, it's close
enough.
For you.
It has Gald at the beginning, so it's pretty close, at least.
Closer than most, right?
Yes.
Works out?
By far. Usually people call him Glad, so.
I might have even in another time.
It's possible.
Good deal. Congratulations on your win. I think, you know what, I'm going to pull up the standings here just real quick on the stats page here. So, standings with 5 points, that will put you at tied for 3rd with Church of Murky currently after the 2nd week. So good job on that. And you know what, for you and everybody else out there in Twitch chat, don't forget to get your flex matches on the schedule, especially in these divisions. Like, you guys have 12 teams in there. Want to make sure you get those flex matches scheduled and played sooner rather than later.
Speaking of which, Church of Murky, we're playing those guys next week. So,
well, there
tiebreaker.
You go. Do you know what day and time?
It is the 21st at, I believe, 9:30.
Oh, so that's tomorrow.
Yeah. No, 19th. Oh, no, I was reading the wrong thing. The 21st, sorry.
That's tomorrow. Well, I guess, sorry, it's after midnight. So it's not tomorrow, it's Sunday.
Oh, you know what?
Sorry.
I was looking at that. I was looking at the wrong thing entirely.
Killing me, Fear.
Not on the schedule yet.
All
not
right,
on the schedule yet. Never mind.
We'll get it on the schedule. Let us know.
So no, it is. The wrongs. Man, I am not good with the new website. The 23rd at 9. There we go.
Tuesday at 9 p.m. Is there a caster? Do you see that already?
It does not show it here.
All right, well. Tuesday at 9, be on the lookout for the tiebreaker between Church of Murky and 2Calculated2Throw. Good luck with that, and I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap up. So anything else you'd like to say to anybody out there?
Nope, just thanks for the cast, man.
Good deal. Glad that we could make it work for you. Have a great night, and go enjoy your points.
Alrighty.
All right, everybody, and that is going to be it for us tonight, as 2Calculated2Throw takes the 2-1 victory over Team Rekt'Em in this Division D East Week 2 matchup. We'll be back, let's see, not tomorrow, possibly tomorrow at 11:30, depending on what goes on with the matchup for that. That's a Div A game. We'll be back on Sunday at the very least for 6:30. Also going to be doing a replay cast for the Zul'jin Distillery versus Censored game that took place last night, and possibly some other games, depending on what is left in the replay bin. So make sure you stop by on Sunday, starting at 2 o'clock. If you miss HGC like I miss HGC, I don't know what to do with my weekend. So I said, you know what, let's just do a bunch of casts and just knock them out in a row, just HGC style. So come by to check that out. Make sure you follow, check me out on Twitter at Warrior Arrow, where I'll be posting my schedule for the week whenever, once I get that set up at the beginning of each week. It's been a pleasure casting for you tonight. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you very soon.